In this episode, we're talking about how content marketing helps build brand authority. If you want to build brand authority, most people will tell you to refresh your brand, update your website, follow the latest trends, but none of those things actually build authority. You can have a beautiful brand and still be completely invisible. So if we answer this question correctly, content marketing is not just one way to build brand authority, it's the only way. Brand authority is not how you look, it's about how you're positioned and how you're seen as the authority on your topic. So in this video, I'm going to show you how that actually works. Let's dive right in. Let's begin by discussing what brand authority really means. When we talk about building a brand, most people think about branding, your logo, your colors, your design, your photography, but brand authority goes far beyond those things. It includes your messaging and especially your positioning and how you're perceived. Because building brand authority means you're seen as the authority on your topic. You know you have authority when every time somebody searches your topic, they keep finding you again and again and again. So how do you build that? You have to be at the top of your category. You have to be at the top of your topic. When people search online or they ask questions, who do they find? Because whoever shows up at the top is positioned as the authority, whether that's on YouTube or on Google or recommended by ChatGPT. These answer engines are deciding who has authority. All right, so let's just take a look at Google. When you do a Google search, and I'll just type in a question here. If I type in how to get kids to listen without yelling, what do we find on the screen? We find AI overview, and usually we see ads. I'm not seeing ads right now, but we're finding an article, we're finding Reddit, and we're seeing a ton of YouTube videos. What's really fun is I see my clients ranking right here. This one is Nicolene Peck. It's a channel that follows this strategy. Let's look at some other examples on YouTube. So if you type in, what is the role of a superintendent in construction? We find Jason Schroeder ranking at the top. Or if we type in 10 things you should never say to your child, we've got both Paul Jenkins and Nicolene Peck ranking at the top. Or if you type in how to become a politician, there's Jay Townsend ranking. Or if you type in buying vacant land in Florida, you find Brent Bowers ranking at the top. So a lot more searches. You type that in, you find Stan the Nudie Man. Or if you type that one in, you find Doug Andrew. If you type that in, you find Michelle Villalobos. If you type this one in, you find Ted Thomas. So on and so forth, all these searches. There's Laura Langmeyer, there's Dr. Carrie Ann Perkins, there's Chad Littlefield. Here's another one for Reagan Archibald. So how do you become that person? And it's actually very simple. You create content that answers the question that people are asking. And the way that people search today is very different than it used to be. They're way more specific. They use more words. They're asking longer questions, and so they're giving way more detail. This actually makes your job much easier because now you can pinpoint exactly who your content is for. You can tell if they're a beginner or if they're advanced. You can tell if they're a buyer or just researching. So instead of focusing on keywords, you focus on questions, very specific questions. And even if the search volume is really small, if that question is being asked consistently month after month and it's being asked by your dream clients, then it's gold, no matter how small it is. So that's what you want to answer. And when you do that, you give Google, YouTube, and ChatGPT the exact answers that they're looking to give to people. That's content marketing, and that's how you build brand authority. Let me go even more specific and show you an example with Jason Schroeder's channel and his search presence. Okay, so looking at all these specific questions for Jason Schroeder, you type in that question, Jason is ranking at the top. Type in that question, he's at the top again. Here's another question, he's video number 2. Type in this question, he's video number 1 and 3. Here he is at the top, right? And so you can see all these specific questions where Jason is ranking at the very top. Let me show you what this looks like behind the scenes. So this is a screenshot I took back mid-February, but it's still very relevant. This is my favorite report in YouTube Analytics. It's called the Traffic Source Report. It gives you a breakdown of all the traffic. So in that 28-day period, we had 140,000 views across the channel, but not all those views are equal. So if you look at the top one here, YouTube search, 43,000 views. Again, this is in a 28-day period. That 43,000 is the most valuable part of all of these views. Suggested or short or external. Let me click on that, and I've zoomed in here. Google search is the biggest percentage of external. So that is super valuable. Google search, YouTube search, that's the traffic that turns into lead generation. So Jason Schroeder has built topical authority in the construction world, and there are plenty of other companies that offer construction consulting, but they're not being found. They don't have authority. So when people go online looking for help, they find Jason. And because of that, he has more leads that he can handle. The others, they don't have the positioning and they're invisible. Now compare that to what most agencies focus on. They talk about brand refreshes, updating your website, keeping things current with the trends, chasing what's popular. But what does that actually do to build authority? Well, nothing. Agencies are focused on looking the part, but not helping their clients be found. They think authority comes from appearance or from paid advertising, but paid ads just interrupt people. They don't build trust and they don't build authority. Okay, so I found a company. I don't know anything about them, but they look like they have a polished brand and they have a website here, that makes them look like an authority. I've brought up their YouTube page, okay, and they're creating content. They created this video 3 months ago, this one 4 months ago, so maybe every month. Well, I guess in the last year they've only made 3 videos, but it doesn't necessarily look like they're addressing their target audience. They're just kind of creating content at random. Now, I had to dig and dig and dig. I have no idea who these people are, and the reason that I found them is I went to page 7 of the Google results. So page 7 is where I found these guys. As polished as they look, they're obviously not getting any search traffic. Authority doesn't come from appearance, it comes from being found. It comes from showing up when people are actively looking for answers online. So instead of asking, how does our brand look? You ask, are we the ones being found? If the answer is yes, then you're building authority. Now here's what surprises most people. They think that building authority takes years. And if you take the wrong approach, then of course it does. It can take years if it even happens at all. But if you take a strategic approach, if you actually have a roadmap of strategy that you're following, you can own a topic in just a few months, because you're not just guessing, you're not chasing trends, you're answering the exact questions that your audience is already asking. And when you do that, the game changes for you. You're not chasing leads, but leads come to you. People find you and they trust you and they don't feel like they're being sold to. They don't have to put up their defenses. It feels like it's a referral because they've already experienced your value. Now, if you want to see a lot more examples of what this actually looks like, I want you to watch this next video. It's called Achieve Category Dominance. In that video, I piece a lot of different things together, and so you can see it clearly. You'll see real examples of what domination actually looks like, and you're going to see a clear path for how you can build this for yourself. So go watch that episode now.